What's up, everybody? GenExDividendInvestor here. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. In this video, I'm going to show you my dividend portfolio, which just hit a new all-time peak at $1.8 million, and I'll show you details of my portfolio in eTrade that you haven't seen before. Then after that, I'll switch to showing you my portfolio in my spreadsheet. Then I'll tell you a warning of what I'm seeing in the markets, and finally I'll end this video with a valuable life story. So I recommend you watch this entire video. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. I started my channel a little over a year ago to document my investing processes and strategies, which I've developed after being in the markets for over 25 years. I decided to create these videos for my kids after I had a health scare that you can learn about in an emotional video I did called The Time I Sold All My Stocks. But after I started creating videos, I realized I absolutely love growing dividend investing communities on social media, so thank you to all my subscribers. I really value you watching and giving me the chance to get to know you. Now, in a previous video I did called eTrade's Dividend Income Estimating Tool, I showed you a tool which estimates how much income your portfolio will put out in the next 12 months across all your accounts. In that video, eTrade estimated that my annual dividend income would be $50,169 in dividends. Since that video, my estimated dividend income has gone up a bit due to dividend increases and such, and now I'm at $51,707 a year of dividends being paid out. Okay, so this morning when I logged in eTrade, I saw that I had 8 notifications of activity, and in this case they were dividends that had been paid out since I last clicked on that notification bell. I try to be very careful about showing too much of my eTrade account, as I don't want to give nefarious folks too many details, so you'll see that I black things out like my account number and real name and such. And for reference, about 60% of my dividend portfolio is in tax-sheltered accounts and 40% are in taxable accounts. However, like I mentioned in my video called Huge Dividend News about my portfolio, I'm planning on utilizing tax strategies to be able to withdraw some of my IRA dividends without penalty to pay for medical expenses even though I'm only in my 40s. Okay, now I'm going to show you a transactions tool which lets you select an account and a date range, and then it shows you all your buys and sells and dividends and such. I'll start with my bigger IRA account first with a date range of last month. So here you can see that the value of this retirement account is at $983,000 on the day I filmed this portion. You can also see that I've not yet made my 2020 contributions. Historically, I've always tried to fund my retirement accounts in the beginning of a new year, but this year I knew that my plan was to start living off my dividends, so I've been preserving cash and haven't contributed yet. I'm currently working on a deal which I hope to close within 90 days from today. If that happens, then I plan to fund my retirement accounts for both 2020 and 2021, and will show you me doing that in a video. I also plan to buy a new dividend stock at that time, as well as do a bunch of investments into my existing stocks, so in all I hope to show you a video of me doing multiple buy orders in eTrades totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars of dividend stocks. Cross your fingers that I can bring this deal to fruition, as I think you'd get a kick out of that video. That's also when I'll show you my main taxable account, which currently has around $735,000 of dividend stocks in it, and I'll show you some other views of my portfolio in eTrade, like number of shares per stock per account and such. Once I make those new buys, then my total taxable dividend portfolio should be over $1 million, and then my combined taxable and tax-sheltered dividend portfolio should end at over $2 million, and my retirement account size relative to taxable accounts will be closer to 50-50. And of course, the deal might not happen, like any deal. It's never done until the fat lady sings. I also plan to invest some money into growth stocks and in some other asset classes, but my channel's not about that, though sometimes I'll mention some of my growth stocks in various videos as a fun Easter egg, or in my private higher tier Patreon channels. So, since it's Christmas, an example growth stock I'm in is Atlassian. Anyways, you might have noticed that the notification has changed to 1 in this screenshot, because when I was originally filming this video, I first clicked on the notifications to show a dividend payout, but when I was editing it, I thought it made more sense to show you the retirement accounts first. Okay, you also see a bunch of dividends I've gotten down below in my IRA account. For example, on December 15th, you see that in this account I got a Realty Income dividend of $167.67. Beyond the dividends, you can also see the recent 59 shares of Viatris I sold for around $1,015 and the 25 shares of Pfizer I bought instead in this retirement account. I mentioned I was going to do that sell and buy on my private Patreon Aristocrat and King Discord channel on my free dividend Discord. Okay, now let me show you my wife's retirement account, which is a lot smaller than mine that I enabled. One thing I should mention that I've not heard people talk about much is a spousal IRA, which is simply an ordinary IRA in the spouse's name. Can usually be opened if you file married and jointly, and one person doesn't have a job or has low income. It's a great way that one person's job can fund multiple retirement nest eggs. So you can see that this retirement account is only at $83,000, so combined our two retirement accounts are at $1,066,000 right now. I've set up the accounts in eTrade so they are linked and can basically be treated as one from a management perspective. In this history, you can see that there's a Home Depot transaction for $143.92. You also see a Realty Income transaction at $136.19. So in December, I got a total of $303.86 of Realty Income dividends across 2 tax-sheltered accounts. It's fun to be getting over $300 a month from Realty Income. Now, one of the mistakes I made when I was younger was that after I got married, I only focused on my investment accounts. Had I been smart, I would have ensured that we were both growing nest eggs. So one takeaway from this video is to make sure you're investing for you and your mate, and are utilizing all the tax-sheltered vehicles available to you. I'm confident that you too can become a multimillionaire if you consistently invest in solid companies for decades. I've never had anything handed to me, and my investing journey started at negative net worth due to student loans, so if I can do it, you can do it. As I previously mentioned, I'm in my 40s now, and I started investing at 21. Furthermore, if you don't have kids when you're young, then your investments should really skyrocket. The normal data says that people spend around $300,000 per child by the time they're 18, and can be much higher if you're paying for tutors and expensive sports or whatever. It's crazy to think how large these portfolios could be if I was single and didn't have kids, lol. Of course I love my kids and wife, and I'm happy about how things turned out. My point is merely that you can really grow your wealth dramatically if you invest for a long time and are focused on it without the lovely diversions of a family. In eTrade, you see this first payout on December 17th, which is a Home Depot dividend for $143.92, which is very similar to what their email notifications of dividend payouts look like as well. You can configure eTrade to email you out when you get dividends, and this is the email I got for that Home Depot dividend. And then this communication shows one of my Realty Income dividends on December 15th. Then here's a dividend email from my bigger IRA that had 3 dividend payouts on December 15th. In this one, you see I got another $167.67 of O on December 15th, along with McDonald's and Coke dividends. I also hold McDonald's and Coke in my taxable account, so I usually get multiple notifications about them. So those are 3 ways eTrade notifies you of dividend payouts: from the notification bell, from your transaction history, and via email. For reference, I actually also have accounts in M1, Fidelity, and a bunch of other brokers. Speaking of M1, if you don't have an account and are interested in starting to invest, then please consider using my M1 brokerage referral link in the description of this video. M1 normally runs promotions where if you click a referral link and then open a new normal taxable brokerage account and transfer some cash into it, then we both can get some free cash. Historically, I've seen $10 and $20 referrals, so I'm not sure when you're watching this video exactly what M1 is potentially offering. But every penny counts. Even if you have a brokerage account, don't miss out on the free $10 or $20. Now, over the years I've utilized spreadsheets as a tool to help me analyze and track my dividend investments, so now let me show you my dividend portfolio in what I call my 2.0 spreadsheet tool, which I offer as a free product to anyone who remains a Patreon aristocrat or king. Okay, here we are in a subset of my spreadsheet, and let me go over a few of the positions here. So Apple's my largest stock by market value, and you can see I have 1,739 shares of it. I don't have any fractional shares because I turned off my DRIP after the recent Apple split. You can see I have about $229,000 of Apple, and it drips $1,425.98. Then number 2 in my portfolio is Microsoft at 788 shares, worth about 175 grand. And then we have Johnson & Johnson Healthcare, about 870 shares of that at 132 grand worth. Then we have Pepsi, 769 shares at 111,000. And Procter & Gamble, $106,000 worth. Duke at 96,000, 3M 95, Coke's at 89,000, McDonald's at 86,000, and Realty Income's at 79,000. And those are my top 10. And then kind of continuing on, we have Kimberly-Clark, AT&T, Southern Company, Colgate-Palmolive, AbbVie, Leggett & Platt, Caterpillar, ExxonMobil, Starbucks, Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, Travelers, Walt Disney, which isn't a dividend company right now, but I'm still keeping it in there because I think they'll go back. Otherwise, if they don't, I'll transition it to my growth portfolio. Pfizer and Chevron. So the market just closed on Christmas Eve. So these are kind of the daily changes that happen to those different positions. And you can see that right now, my portfolio value just crested 1.8 million. And then in here, it shows you kind of the portfolio percentage that each of these positions takes up, X date and pay date, all that stuff's automatic, dividend yield, 3-year dividend CAGR. So you can see I've got a pretty conservative average weighted dividend yield of 2.87%, and my portfolio's average weighted 3-year dividend CAGR is 7.57%. And then if you scroll to the right, got a few extra things in there. But one of the cool things is this dividend calendar, which shows you what has paid out based on the dividends you put in, as well as estimates of what dividends are going to be paid out. So December's going to be a new record for me where I'm going to crest 7,000 dividends a month. And then we were looking at Realty Income. There's at $303.86 there. And we were talking about Home Depot, and we see Home Depot's around $143. And then if we scroll down on the bottom, you see I have these two lines that estimate your annual income growth over time, both with a drip and without a drip, all the way out to 30 years. So right, year one, current year, we're at $51,700, and then it shows you if you go all the way out to year 30, that your estimated annual income with no drip, just due to your CAGR, would be $460,000 a year. Or if you were dripping, it'd be $1.9 million of dividend income a year. Shows you how powerful compounding is. Then it breaks this down here into your monthly passive income, your daily passive income, your hourly passive income, which is 24 by 7 by 365 hours, and then your hourly wage income, because dividends are taxed better and such. And then I've also got some market metrics like the Dow and the futures and S&P 500 and all that jazz. Down here you can see a sector breakdown, so portfolio percentage by sector. So technology is 22.5%, healthcare is 11.3%, etc. If you're interested, you could screenshot it and dive into it. And we also have your annual passive income percentage by sector. And then there's a couple more in here, the annual passive income percentage by ticker. And you have your portfolio percentage by ticker. And then here is an estimated annual passive income of no drip versus with drip. Then it can be fun to jump in the dividends received tracker tool, which is this one, and it kind of shows the dividends that are paying out. So you can look at something like Realty Income here and see how month over month it's been increasing, either due to the drip or due dividend increases or whatever. And then I turned off my drip recently, so they're the same amounts. And then another useful tool is the stock comparison tool, which gives you some information about the stocks, including things like the current analyst rating, the number of consecutive years of dividend increases, payout ratio, dividend yield, CAGR, blah, blah, blah. And then you've probably seen these in my videos where it shows some historical information on stock price and dividend payout trends and dividend yield trends, quarterly EPS trends, annual shares outstanding trends, asset versus liability trends, quarterly revenue, profit, price to free cash flow ratios, and debt trends. So it's a handy tool in the spreadsheet. There's a variety of other things in there, but you can watch my video on it if you're interested. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a warning about what I'm seeing on YouTube about the stock market. More and more I'm seeing videos about risky investments. I probably shouldn't even call them investments. Super speculative stuff, penny stocks, stuff that doesn't actually have a track record of growth or a good balance sheet, or etc. Do you think that a video that says a stock can 50x your return has someone who is actually analyzing financial metrics, or do you think they're pitching you hype? Do you think they can guarantee it will 20x, or do you think they're saying that to get you to click it? Unfortunately, it's novice investors that are usually prone to watching something like that and invest accordingly. And that's a shame. Forget get rich quick. Invest in great companies. Investing is a marathon, not a sprint. But like everything in life, some people want to take cuts in the line. They want to beat the system. They want a quick buck. Trust me, 9 times out of 10, those people are going to get burned. I get concerned when I hear people throwing their money down the drain, and it's the same pattern I've seen my entire investing life. Have the people who are pitching those 50x stocks seen their portfolios grow 50x this year? How about last year as well? No? Take a look at the videos on their channel. How many 10x, 20x, 50x videos do they have? I'd wonder why their accounts aren't 50xing if they keep showing you thumbnails like that. Is the person who's pitching something to you at least putting their money where their mouth is? Look, there are lots of entertaining channels on YouTube. I urge you to simply be careful and realize that all of us, including me, want you to click our videos and watch them. But before you ever invest, please do your due diligence. Don't invest on hype. Don't invest because the CEO is really good at pitching something. Don't just invest because it's an EV company and EV stocks are seemingly all shooting up. The exact same thing happened in the dot-com era. Companies literally just added the word .com to their names and their stocks suddenly flew up. Don't invest just because the idea of what a company does sounds exciting and a video says that maybe you'll 20x your money. Research, research, research. Don't blindly listen to stories of people who only tell you their successes. Also realize that no one can predict the future. Does anyone really know if the market will crash tomorrow, next month, next year? No, of course not. Do those people who pitch things then circle back with everything they have pitched at recurring intervals of time to see how accurate their previous predictions were? Or do they just mostly celebrate their good calls and avoid bringing up their incorrect calls? Sure, it can be entertaining to listen to someone who's ultra confident something will happen, and sometimes their predictions are logical and well articulated and analyzed. Sometimes they'll be right, but that also means sometimes they'll be wrong. By all means watch YouTube for entertainment value, because there are some very entertaining people on YouTube. But be careful if you're actually following videos for investing advice, mine or anyone's. Look at me, my portfolio got destroyed in 2000 and 2008. I'm just a normal guy who can't predict the future and makes investing mistakes all the time. I thought McDonald's was invincible, but did I know a worldwide pandemic would cause people to stay indoors for months? No, unfortunately McDonald's recovered, but my point is that people on YouTube are just people. Like you, like anyone. By the way, I just released some awesome merch with hilarious dividend investing quotes on a site called Teespring. You can find a link in the description of this video, and I've configured my merch store to automatically contribute 10% of all profits to St. Jude Children's Hospital. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a valuable story about life I found online that is worth hearing and reflecting on. One night, 4 college kids stayed out late, partying and having a good time. They paid no mind to the test they had scheduled for the next day and didn't study. In the morning, they hatched a plan to get out of taking their test. They covered themselves with grease and dirt and went to the dean's office. Once there, they said they'd been to a wedding the previous night, and on the way back they got a flat tire and had to push the car back to campus. The dean listened to their tale of woe. He offered them a retest 3 days later. They thanked him and accepted his offer. When the test day arrived, they went to the dean. The dean put them all in separate rooms for the test. They were fine with this since they had studied hard in the interim. Then they saw the test. It had 2 questions. Question number 1, your name, 1 point. Question number 2, which tire burst, 99 points. Options, front left, front right, back left, or back right. Moral of the story? Always be responsible and make wise decisions. And with that, I leave you this quote from the amazing Tony Robbins, who said, "Your life changes the moment you make a new, congruent, and committed decision." Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Please consider hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing if you haven't yet, and click that bell notification. Finally, I invite you to join my free Dividend Discord. I'm now in year 2 of it, and many people have said it's super valuable and fun, and it's free. Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you again real soon. I am not a financial advisor, and these videos are for entertainment, inspiration, and educational purposes only. Investing of any kind involves risk. I am only sharing my opinion with no guarantee of gains or losses on investments.